What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I'm your slightly fuzzy love coach, Scott Katamas, your host for the evening. Sorry, the lighting in this hotel room is not great, but you don't really need to see me because we've got some wonderful presenters, and that's who you're going to be seeing tonight. We're going to be learning all about the farm, the intentional community in the United States that is probably the most famous of its kind. And we're going to meet some of the original founding members, as well as the people that are making it happen 40 years later. So it's going to be a really fascinating and interesting show. We're definitely going to take questions from the audience. But to get us rocking and rolling and starting, it is my pleasure to introduce my co-host, the man who makes all things happen, our beloved Omashar.
Well, namaste and welcome everybody. Welcome Facebook viewers and YouTube viewers and everybody that is going to be watching the recordings. We're going to start off with a song called, what is it called? Freedom Comes with Letting Go. And let's go. All right.
The open roads of this brand new start, the peace that flows through this loving heart, 'cause freedom comes with letting go. Life renewed, new seeds to sow. Take my hand, I'm with you now. Relax yourself, your furrowed brow. Has gone, so say hello. No looking back, onward we go. This is the life awaiting us. With family supporting us. mountain peaks for us to climb. New roads to walk, no reason why. It's time to know that we are one. With all of life, the central sun. And this is the life awaiting us. With family supporting us, the sword of truth has cleared the way for us to rise our brand new day. Freedom comes with letting go. This life renewed, new seeds to sow.
Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to go to gallery view,
Mm.
and let's all give Omashar some wonderful twinkles.
Mm.
Our farm friends, we twinkle here on the Awakening World.
It's rain.
And I'm sure you're getting a lot of positive comments for your backdrop, which is remarkable, and also your extraordinary, wonderful presentation on Humanities Team today.
Yes, thank you very much. It was pretty awesome, actually. The whole package. They had such an amazing program with all of our favorite and famous luminaries. And so I've been checking in every so often, but it was wonderful because it went out to several, many, almost 1,000 people around the world. So it was very cool. Yeah.
Your fame is gaining as it should.
Thank you so much. And there's only one of us here in our many individualized bodies. So thank you for the accolade, and I lay no claim to it. It's from the heart. Thank you, brother.
I hold the vision of the whole world dancing to your music because
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
all right, I can tell that you're reaching your intimacy threshold.
No, not at all. I'm just trying to be real.
All right. Well, what's real is once again, Reverend Jeffrey has brought together really our people tonight. And so Reverend Jeffrey always brings great things to the Awakening World. And he's been talking to me about this show for a long time, and it's finally happening. So with no further ado, I am turning it over to our beloved Reverend Jeffrey.
Oh my heavens. Thank you. Thank you. I feel so excited about here in my tribe getting to bring part of my story, big part of my spiritual story, and then the people that all got involved with it. And when I got a hold of Douglas and he agreed to do this, my heart just flew in excitement and I got to delve deeper into what's going on now. Of course, I've been a big supporter of Plenty over the years, and that we'll get more into that and so much more about the farm, which is an incredible story. But how's my story? How did I end up on the farm? Well, like many of us in the late 60s, 70s, things were just breaking down. There was war in Vietnam and all this stuff, and I could not figure it out. And then there was plant medicine around to help and LSD, and woke up. But once you're awake, I couldn't, what's going on? I mean, we were still about lost to some extent. People were running over to India to find gurus and stuff. So we went on a search. And my beloved Faith, my partner, and the mother of my children, we set out in we bought a big old 1-ton truck to go on this adventure out west. We wanted to go to San Francisco because that's where the energy seemed to be focusing on this awakening of the consciousness that was going on. Having come from Woodstock and having a mystical experience with Swami Satchidananda, I was just like searching so much for looking for someone to hold on to and help deal with this whole concept of energy that we weren't brought up with at all. We didn't understand the nature of energy or taught about how energy flows between us and collectively. So we got an old truck, a 1-ton panel truck, and we saw the old owners, and they named her, said, "This is Bertha." So we named her Rebirtha. Set out on our journey, heading out towards San Francisco. Well, we spent camping up in the mountains above Boulder, Colorado, and came down for what the Holy Man Jam that year. And there's all these luminaries and everybody, yogas and going on, and ran into Stephen Gaskin and some of his students. And this is where we really felt connected. So we followed Stephen Gaskin back to San Francisco, got hooked up. We had a commune house going on, and got to go to Monday night class, which is where thousands of people were coming and getting into this beautiful group consciousness. And from that, a community started developing with all these buses and vehicles. Oh, by the way, so we started on a caravan, where all these buses were heading out. What an experience. Can you imagine 60 buses and trucks and everything all painted up in different colors and heading out across the country. Obviously we were noticed more, and it was so much fun because it was like a real adventure. This has a funny story. This is like a picture of the I don't know if you can see it well, yeah. And this is my vehicle right here in the back. Now how I got in the back's a funny quick little story. So we didn't have cell phones or anything to stay connected, so we all had to split up and get gas and different things. So I'm back on the road wondering if the caravan's ahead of me. Next thing I look in the rearview mirror, and Stephen and his big cruiser are right behind me. So I pulled over and got in the back of the line. But that was so many of the wonderful stories that happened in there along the path. It was just what an adventure, and I was just feeling so honored and so to be part of this amazing adventure we were all on together. Well, we ended up, in Tennessee, and lots of more adventures along the way, but ended up getting some land to build a community from scratch. There's nothing there. We had to dig a hole quick just to get a latrine working. So everyone was really dedicated, and it was totally based on everyone throwing their energy and money together, and we would just do this. Well, a lot of things happened, a lot of stories, and folks here will be sharing it, but there came a time, and it was such a wonderful experience being in that vibration. But my daughter was born by the midwives, Ida May, and she was born with a birth defect, spinal bifida, which was the community tried to rally behind and support everything, but she needed a lot of medical care from Vanderbilt Hospital, a major hospital kind of care. And it was very difficult to try to just work the logistics of having a car to go up there and to the hospital, and your car would be full of people trying to get it. So it became very difficult to deal with some of the economic issues, especially with my daughter. I had another daughter, beautiful, born on the farm, Cheryl, and my son was born a midwife as well. So the midwife story changed your life because of the way the experience and the connection. And that my daughter Colleen, that was born with spinal fist, is the love of my life. She has such amazing teachings for me. Anyhow, so shortly after that, the changeover happened and a lot of people left, which you'll hear more about. It was when it changed over from a commune to more of a co-op and a community that wanted to take care of the land. My own personal story, it took me a while to get my spiritual balance again after that. I went through a lot of issues trying to reintegrate into the great, United States of America. But got connected with some really wonderful people with 12 Steps and the Science of Mind magazines and Unity Church and all that, which reinvigorated my spirituality to I have a wonderful spiritual practice and wonderful community, and that got me here. And one of the other things that it also opened up to me is becoming part of the community of the International Space Federation, which are doing amazing thing, bringing in these big solutions for what we need for our society and civilization to really make, of course, the science of unified physics that allows for free energy, 0-point energy that can replace all this energy with whatever we need, and the gravity control, which will allow us to become part of the galactic community. So I can't believe where I'm ended up. And all the science and spirituality came down to me, and I found this word in the Science of Mind magazine called Levolution. And it fit into the science because we're always moving into a higher order of awakening, coherent. So because that's how the universe works, and it's also how our spirituality works, is we accept where we are and continue to grow towards a deeper sense of love in our hearts to each other and become more like that true oneness that woke us up in the first place. And we can learn how to make that transformation into a new paradigm. And I'm excited to be any part of it at all. And I have so much fun with my Levolution. I don't know. I sent some pictures to Scott showing how hard I work and bringing out the Levolution. I don't know if he can show those now, Scott.
I can show one. I can't. I wasn't able to pull together a whole slideshow for you, but
Well, anyhow, it was just a fun thing that I do.
well, you know what, Omashar, you're host. I think you need to make me host.
You are host, brother.
It's funny. It's not giving me a screen share option.
Because it says you're host and it says me and DR are co-hosts.
Oh, here we go. Okay, share's in a different place. Sorry.
You're okay.
Here is the photo.
Yeah, that's good.
This is the work that you're doing. Tell us what this photo is and indicates, Jeffrey.
Well, it was fun. I go around and I get to hand out these cards and make people happy. And it's very simple. It's just a word, Levolution, free to you to use. And they love it. 98% of everybody just loves it. A lot of them want to share it. And it's how it is at the core of what we're all about, both scientifically and spiritually, is to continue to move into that higher energy of love. And that's my story, how I got in the farm and where I got now to be part
let's all twinkle our beloved Reverend Jeffrey. I'm sure, many of you have already put some comments in about how kind of how you can relate. For example, our wild monk of the Mystic Monastery, Jerry, says, I lived in an old school bus in Guatemala in '76 when the huge earthquake had occurred and we received potatoes from plenty. And other people are relating to George Noble used to go to the Monday night class, going way back when. So Carol lived in the San Francisco Bay Area at the time, Haight-Ashbury, the Fillmore Ballroom. So a lot of wonderful memories that you have stirred. And I would love for you to now introduce us to our main presenters for the night from the farm.
Oh, so when the idea of coming up and doing a show with my tribe has been something I wanted to do. And I got a hold of Douglas, who very busy, very amazing man doing all kinds of wonderful stuff, but he agreed. Yes. And I was so excited when he says, all right, we'll do it. And we'll put together a show about the farm. And of course, he wrote a book, Out to Change the World, The Evolution of the Farm Community and the Evolution. So I'll be putting that in the chat. And it's a story. There are a lot of books out there with good stories. I think if you're going to be talking about community, it's like you got to go to college. Going to college to study this course. The course on the farm, because it was amazing what it had to deal with, what it learned, the process it went through. So much incredible learning and growing and spiritual development by being in that community. So I think anyone who wants to build a community or needs to go and take a good look and get as much information from the example that the farm has done and what they learned and how we dealt with a lot of things. Because so it's a great school for anyone doing building community. So anyhow, when I was so happy he did it and he took it on and he's done a marvelous job. So I'm going to turn it over to what's become a beloved friend, Douglas, and his beautiful wife, to talk about all the different things the farm is doing now and how they were able to save that concepts and the basic spiritual believing and make it real and practical, so they could actually do the work of like Plenty and all the other organizations that are around helping to raise the vibration and the sustainability of Earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey, and welcome Douglas and Deborah and the two lovely dualists behind you. And welcome to the Awakening World.
Thanks so much, Scott and Jeffrey. When I saw Global Peace Tribe, it just resonated with me. I said, these are my people. This is what I'm into. And then I looked at some of the shows. I said, this is a bunch of hippies here.
That's for sure.
So I felt right at home, coming to the show. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. Deborah and I joined the farm when we were 19.
Wow.
We missed San Francisco in the caravan. We came in 73 and thought we had missed the boat, that we were coming late. And 50 years later, now they call us founding members, So we're not founding members like the people that came on the caravan, but we've been keeping it going. We were both volunteers in Guatemala for a couple of years. So I definitely relate to that. I'm here with my beautiful daughter, Leah, and our good friend, Serena, who will talk to you about our midwife program in a little bit. You want to say anything, Deb?
Well, we came, like Douglas said, when the farm was about 2.5 years old. And some of the things that attracted us were things like going back to the land, having a community where you knew everybody. So sometimes people who just live somewhere in a neighborhood, they might not really be in alignment with their neighbors. Whereas in an intentional community, you are all coming together because you have some common beliefs. And we liked that idea. We kind of liked building the community from the ground up. We liked that the farm was growing its own food, and pretty much anything we needed, we tried to do it ourselves. We even had our own telephone system. So the first probably 9 months that I lived here, I never left the property because everything I needed was here. And the midwifery program, or just the fact that there were midwives here, attracted me because I knew I wanted to have my babies at home. And the only midwives I'd ever heard of were here at the farm. So we felt very grateful to move here. And about a year after we arrived, we were blessed with our first child. And then 2 years later, my daughter Leah was born. So we had, I had a great experience with those births. And I don't know, are we going to, maybe I shouldn't talk too much yet about that.
It's a big story, and we're just going to give you a little tip of the iceberg to kind of give you the highlights or, how we came to be. But here we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. What is it?
Yep, we see it. We see
You
it.
see it?
Yep, it's good.
Okay, well, the story starts in San Francisco with the Summer of Love and all that was happening there. You've heard about the mention of Monday Night Class. Monday Night Class was people coming together to understand what was going on with the psychedelic experience. It was obviously something deep inside that was resonating. It was an exploration of higher consciousness and trying to understand what this all meant. And so Monday Night Class was people coming together to share their experiences and see what we've learned together. We started looking at all the different religions in the world and seeing what truths that they shared. We came to understand that there were essential truths that resonated in every culture and every religion. We combined that with our own experiences of understanding vibrations and harmonic frequencies and how everything was connected. And I think one of the things that spoke to us the most was Taoism and Buddhism, the understanding that balance was at the heart of what it was going to take to get along with each other, to make this planet work, and how we could be together as a community. The Monday Night Class decided to go on a caravan, a speaking tour around the country to see if we could spread some of that peace and love that was happening from San Francisco and cool out some of the violence that was starting to happen in the anti-war movement. And after going all the way around the country, coming back to San Francisco, it had become a community of people taking care of each other. And we said, well, we just don't want to go back to living in apartments and doing our own thing. Let's get some land. And as we looked around the country, we looked at places where people were the most friendly. And Minnesota was very nice, but it was too cold. There was no growing season. And so the next place that we looked at was Nashville, Tennessee. There was a thing about Southern hospitality. We were welcome there. And so went to Nashville, started looking for land. And that's when we learned the meaning of the Bible verse, to be harmless as doves, but be wise as serpents. Because people would try to sell us a piece of land, tell us it was 500 acres and it was 100 acres. So we had to, keep an eye on things. But eventually we were very blessed to come across a farmer who wanted to sell us his 1,000 acres for $70 an acre. And we had just enough money to give him a down payment, and we did it as a handshake deal because the FBI had gone around to all the realty companies and said, don't sell the hippies any land and they'll just go away. Well, we did this with a handshake deal with a neighbor, and he didn't take the money and run. He moved right into town next to us and stuck around, and I think he was betting on us that we were going to be good neighbors and not burn the Summertown community where we live. A few years later, we added another 750 acres for a total of 1,750 acres. And so in this picture here, you can see it's one of our first buildings. We've got our water tower up. There's some little dots off in the distance that are our apple orchard. And so the first 10 years, it was really like living in boot camp. We found we could get Army tents for about $25 a piece. We were going into the nearby towns and tearing down old houses and buildings and bringing the wood back so that we could put floors in the bottom of the tent so we weren't on the ground. And then we would get windows out of those houses and put windows in the sides, maybe eventually get an old tin roof and turn them into little cabins. A key core principle of the community was the concept of right livelihood, a Buddhist principle that your work is seamless with your ideals. And so we started looking for things we could do that really spoke to our heart. Growing our own food seemed just a natural thing to do. And this started opening us up to what we considered the sacraments of our spiritual community. One of the first was childbirth as a sacrament. We started having our first babies while on the caravan. before we even got land. And that opened us up into our midwifery program that's still in place today. Taking care of the elderly, our parents came to live with us, and we realized that that was in the other end of childbirth, the transition to the beyond, and it became another sacrament of our community. And so we're coming into the mid-70s in the community. We're feeling pretty strong, but we realize it's not just about building the ultimate hippie commune. You know, we were the benefactors of all the colonialism that had been happening for the last couple hundred years. What could we do to give back? We felt like we were so privileged and so fortunate to have this piece of land and to be able to live together. What could we do to give back? Well, we heard about an earthquake that happened in Guatemala that killed 25,000 people overnight, hundreds of thousands homeless. And so we sent some people down to find out what we could do. And we discovered that Canada had sent a freighter of plywood and 2x4s and tin, but nobody to do any building. Well, we knew how to build. That was something that we were using to make money. So we sent down a team of carpenters, started working with the local people. From there, we started doing water projects where we were find a spring in the mountains and bring it down into the villages. One of our water projects brought water to 10,000 people. This has included the village where we lived, San Bartolo. Brought clean water into that village, and we said, what can we do to help combat the malnutrition that we were seeing? Well, the farm had been using soy products as a way to get our protein, and so we built a lecheria de soya, the soy dairy, that makes tofu, ice cream. They've expanded it. It's still going now 40 years later. And has been a cottage industry for the village. Plenty started looking for other places we could go. We had to leave Guatemala for a while. It got too dangerous down there, but our projects expanded into Belize, St. Lucia, even as far away as Lesotho in South Africa. We even had a free ambulance service in the South Bronx. So now we're coming into about 1980, and we're realizing that the farm is going into debt. We're not making as much money as we're spending. Of course, this was when the first oil crisis happened. Gasoline went from 50 cents to $1.50 a gallon in a year. This basically tanked the construction business, which we were using to support ourselves. And if we didn't change, we were going to lose the land and everything. So we started having meetings, and we realized it was about becoming financially sustainable. We had to learn how to economically survive. And the way we did that was we changed from a commune to a collective where each adult member was required to pay in to the community to help support it. We looked at everything it took to run the community, our water system, our roads, our public buildings, and figured out what all that was costing us and divided that up by all the people who lived in the community. And that became our monthly dues. This was in 1983 when we realized we were over $500,000 in debt. And in 3 years, we had that debt paid off. So that kind of brings us to what the community is today. We have 225 residents. Our land is all owned by a trust. There's also land next all around the community that's part of our land trust, some privately owned land that's by farm friends and family. So totally there's about 4,000 acres that we manage as an extended community. Our core values are nonviolence and respect for nature. We have a democratically elected board of directors and membership committee, numerous volunteer committees. And right now, it costs $112 a month per adult to live in the community. This covers our water system, the maintenance of all of our buildings and roads, capital improvements on the land, all our administration. And people want to know, how do you become a member of the farm? Well, first we encourage people to visit and see what it's like firsthand and find out if it's really what you think it is and if it's a good fit for you and if we feel like you're a good fit for us. So you become a resident. You live here for a while with no commitments. We get to know you, you get to know us, and maybe after a couple of years, you become a provisional member. And then after a couple of more years, you go up for a community vote. It takes 2/3 of the community to vote someone in as a full member. And then you would pay a $3,000 membership fee and become a permanent member. And, right now I have to say, people first come and they think it's just so wonderful and perfect. And we say, that's the honeymoon period. You have to stay here for a while, and then you find out that we're as crazy as everybody else. We have our social dramas, but we still try to take care of each other and remember that we love each other. But want to make sure that you understand it's not nirvana, it's not utopia. It's people living together, and that means you have to work it out. And that's what we've been doing for the last 50 years. We've come to realize that the community is an eco-village, and there are some core principles to what consists of an eco-village. Eco-villages are human scaled. We're at the size where we can know each other, and we have meetings, community dinners, parties, all kinds of events as a way to mix it up with each other, because we really need to stay connected so that we don't become us and them. We have to learn how to stay connected as a community and as a family. An eco-village is also full-featured. It has all the different things that make up a town, from our store and our school to our swimming hole to our cemetery, where we have about 100 of us buried out there. And I say, it's not just the good times that brings us together. Sometimes it's the hard times, the breaking of the heart that lets the light in. And so, life goes full circle, and we're honored to be able to have our loved ones here on the land. An eco-village has multiple ways of being able to express yourself through initiatives like having businesses. So one of our original businesses is the book publishing company. They publish cookbooks, books on health and diet, and we have a whole catalog of titles from our partnership with the Native American community, going back to our work with Plenty. Our largest business is SE International, which makes Geiger counters. This is a business that we started after 3 Mile Island, if you can remember that, back around 1979 or so, when there was a meltdown in Pennsylvania. So we said people need to know what's going on around them, and we started figuring out how to build something that would detect radiation. So then after Chernobyl and Fukushima, the business really took off, and it is currently our largest employer and one of our biggest businesses. The Farm Midwifery Center has stayed as a presence in the community. Women come from all over the world, mostly locally within driving distance, but sometimes people come from England, Africa, all different places to have their birth with the farm midwives. Our farm school had to turn into a business that could, because the teachers had to get paid. There's expenses running a school. And so we're really proud of what they've been able to accomplish. Plenty International is still active around the world. Many different types of projects, such as school gardens in Belize to help the kids have better nutrition and learn about organic gardening. We do a lot of solar projects in Belize. One of our longest running projects is home gardens at the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. And so if you think about what an eco-village is, it means that it's something that is sustainable to the next generation for the foreseeable future. Sustainability is not just about solar power and green housing. It's about how do you pass on your values to the next generation so that they can carry it on. And so as we look at life in community, it's not for everybody. It's a very intense experience, but it has been so enriching to our lives. We have a phrase we call this season's people. So the people that were here a decade ago are not the people who are here today. The generations pass. As I look at this picture, I see 7 people who are no longer with us, but there's a rich, active community happening, and I hope you'll come and see us. If you go to the farm community in Tennessee on Facebook, that's a good way to connect with us. I'm always posting things there about things that are happening here. If you go to our website, thefarmcommunity.com, you can sign up for my newsletter, Farm Fresh. I put that out once a month, talking about happenings, different things that are going on in the community. And I just want to thank Jeffrey and Scott for inviting us here today. And we're going to have a little more from our work with the land, our work with the midwives, and thank you.
That is so inspirational, what you've created, and there's a lot of wonderful comments. I'm going to read just a few of the comments in our chat box, and then there's some questions. So I'm going to read the comments. We're going to go to Omashar for a song, and then we've got some questions for you. And of course, we want to hear from James and from the lovely ladies behind you. But just a few, I'll read a couple of questions. You can think about them, and then we'll come back after the song. Dr. Laura wants to know, are you getting a huge wave of interest in coming to live on the farm, given what's going on in the world right now? And thank you, Reverend Jeffrey, for all the links that you put in. Dia writes, Douglas, you are so beautifully grounded as a self-professed hippie. I'm knowing that the farm exists so successfully. Thank you, bravo, namaste. Susan Woolridge writes, so wonderful. Our village is on a smaller scale and in town, and also created by consensus. Trisha is wondering if there is a monthly rent in an apartment type setup, if that's available. And yes, you're in Tennessee now, correct?
That's correct.
George talking about the clown school at the hog farm. I worked a lot with Wavy Gravy. That's a friend of ours, I'm sure, very similar common family. People are wanting to know about decision-making, consensus, majority. Carol Craig writes, I am so happy to hear this presentation. I really needed to hear some inspiration today. Maximum grace to all of the work you've done to make this world a better place. Eleanor Joy writes, this is so inspiring and uplifting. And more compliments and appreciations coming in. So we'll come back to you to hear from the other voices and get some Q&A, but it's time for a music break, which means it's time for Omashar.
That would be me and Douglas and company. I am so inspired with what you shared. It's almost, I wouldn't, my mind says unbelievable, but it's totally believable how a group of people can come together and serve so strongly worldwide. It's amazing. There's no words for it. I'm just, my cells are tingling in my body. Thank you. And the song I've chosen now, we've sung it before, and the chorus of it, you might know, you might have even sung on your land, and it's called Earth My Body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. And so I wrote a song using that as the chorus, and it popped into my psyche to sing tonight. And I'm just going to put it in the chat box for folks to sing along whilst remaining muted. Anyway, there we go.
Sure.
All right. I think we're good.
We are here and we're gathered together holding hands. My sisters and brothers, open hearts and open minds, raising our voices and singing these praises. And singing these praises. Earth my body, water hearts and open minds. We raise our voices and sing these praises. And sing these praises. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, 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 yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, hey. We are here, gathered together, holding hands. My sisters and brothers, open hearts and open minds, raising our voices and singing these praises. Get ready, singing these praises. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, 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 yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, hey.
Fantastic. What a perfect song. As usual, you've got
I loved it, Douglas and Deborah and family. I think you knew that song because I used to live in Hawaii and we had Sweat Lodge once a month for several years and we always sung this song in Sweat Lodge. And so it was obviously called for you guys. So thank you.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a couple comments and just a reminder of a couple of the questions. Ayada, by the way, writes, wonderful choice, Obashar. That song goes back away. We used to sing that at gatherings decades ago. So perfect. And George enjoyed watching the daughters dancing in the background. Dr. Laura also appreciating that choice of song. Ayada wrote, yes, this is so inspiring to see and hear all about the evolution of the farm and that it's still thriving as a community. The farm had a huge influence on me over the years, particularly Ina May and her midwifery work. I still have my copy of her first book, Spiritual Midwifery. Is it midwifery or midwifery? It was such a breath of fresh air and sanity in a world where childbirth was co-opted by a largely heartless medical system. So thank you for writing that, Ayada. Dr. Laura writes, Douglas and friends, you're giving back to so many communities in need. This is awe-inspiring. So absolutely, people are very inspired. And I think I'll bring up James, because we haven't heard from him yet. And maybe in some of the questions that are going to be coming up, James may want to provide some answers as well. And James you are the president now. You're the guy making it happen.
Yes, that is correct. Doug Stevenson actually handed it over to me. We had quite the ceremony. He was one of the great influencers, you could say, in the Swan Conservation Trust, which is another one of the organizations that was birthed out of the farm. right? In the 1990s, the clear cutters came through, right? We saw thousands upon thousands of acres cut. And I was in my teenage years, actually. And it really impacted me heavily because I grew up, I was connected with the land. I had a very spiritual connection with it. I watched those streams as a child. I watched the animals run along and through there, and it taught me, connected me with the land, being there and living on that land. And yeah, so when that happened, a group of you could say the first generation, like Doug's era, um, you know, spearheaded it. They said, we gotta take care of this too. We gotta, save our backyard. Really, we gotta save these streams that we grew up with, that we know so well, and we need to do it for our children as well as ourselves, as well as humanity. And so there was a strong, energetic, and it took many conversations actually to make that first purchase. And I think Doug can tell it better than many. And I know myself, and have now come to work and network with a lot of these organizations that are saving land. And a lot of it's really just a miracle, right? I've heard many stories where really someone came up in a crowd when there was an auction and said, you know what, I'll help out. And they saved a beautiful waterfall, or they saved, just something that was just awe-striking. Cummings Falls in Tennessee. This one is that I'm going to bring up here, is a lot of it is about the Big Swan headwaters, right? And it's a creek that's just right there in the backyard. And these creeks are what really feed us, right? These waters water our soul. They give us life. They're continual. It's like never ending, that water. It's an amazing cycle. And as I said, it's a teacher, right? And this water that goes through this land, it's actually structured, right? It's a healing water. I believe in putting your feet in it and swimming in it, and there's all kinds of, this area that is kind of beyond the farm. That's another one of these areas, like it's like going out and helping Guatemala or helping other areas. It's helping ourselves here. It's helping Tennessee. And one of the most amazing things really about the Swan Trust is it's one of many. There's a Land Trust Alliance in the United States. And I like to tell people that just a few years ago, these privately protected lands, they have easements. This land is protected for generations. It's attached to the deed in our system for what it is. And it's really protected in the best way we know how, through partnerships. These private land holdings now surpass federal and government land ownings, right? We have millions of acres now that are protected in this way. And through this organization, we're actually protecting over 1,500 acres contiguously, right? Even more than that through some other areas. And we're partnering with other organizations to protect, one of the, National and Highland Rim Forest, right? We're really focused on some of this Highland Rim. And with my slideshow, I can get into that. And I'm not sure if now's a good time to share that, but I'd be glad to share a little piece of that with everyone here.
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So yeah, again, Swan Conservation Trust, right? We're really aiming to have a legacy for our children. And I could almost stop just at this picture, right? That the land is our teacher.
I'm so loving your tears. And I wanted to just take a breath. And for all of us to, if you go back to that picture, this is all drop into the beauty of James's heart right in this moment, sharing with us his love of this land. Thank you, James. It's really powerful to feel you.
You, Scott, Jeffrey, Doug, everyone. because it takes a community. It takes all of us. You know, and you know, if you haven't done it lately, I suggest a forest bathing, that you go out and you take it in, because it will give a gift to you just by looking at it. It will de-stress you. It'll lower your cortisol. It's proven. And I'll tell you what, you go out and you will have a better day. This particular picture is really of our backyard. You know, I used to hike out to this land, and I didn't even know that it wasn't part of the farm that Doug just spoke about. You know, we went out and we played in this land. We played in these waters. You know, one time I rode a bike down there and I had to take it back out because I got a flat. And, you know, and then the clear cutters came in, and I really came to understand. And I had a passion inside myself. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but it came around. And one day, you know, I was brought back. I was in a way summoned back in, and, you know, and I had worked for the Swan Trust, just volunteering, doing anything from helping them auction or talking about it and spreading the word. And you know, and then I was asked to serve, and really got an opportunity. And, you know, we've continued to serve the community and continue to save land. And I'll teach you a little bit about it here, a little bit about what we've done. And I know I only had so many minutes. I don't want to take up too much, so I'll try to move through it. But I think, you know, like I said, it's right here in this slide, and it really is about love, right? And I hope that our spirits can drive us together for environmental action, that you know, that you feel that connection, that land is a source of sustenance and healing and spiritual renewal, right? Love is exponential, and it just takes looking out in your backyard and seeing a seed, and seeing how that seed can become a forest, how it can become a beautiful plain and field in which you look over, right? And the action you take today, I implore everyone to think about, right? You're going to impact the next 7 generations of children, right? You save a little land, and that land is there for the children and their children and the children's children, and it goes on, right? And the more that we bring our children in and look at nature as our teacher, that the higher level, as Doug was talking about, is going to be achieved, right? That our children being connected with nature, being connected with those streams, being connected with our water sources, seeing it, being educated by it, you know, feeling it, knowing it, having it embedded in their spirit, they're going to lead us forward in a better way than we know how ourselves. And so they are the keys. And I'll get into just a hair here of like what we're actually protecting that I mentioned, right? So here's a little bit of graphics here, and, you know, Western Highland Rim is kind of this left-hand side of this purple right-hand map. And that's the area. And I know there was a lot of questions about, hey, where is the farm? Well, it's in the Western Highland Rim, right up there. You know, it's kind of in the piece of a few counties, and it's right next to, if you ever want to look it up, a place called Summertown, and you can make a visit. And if you want to visit the trust itself, you can see over here on the left is that 1,500 plus of contiguous protected areas that actually it's a boundary for the farm, right? So the farm has a number of headwaters, Cox, Cowpen. They lead in and become a good piece of the Big Swan Creek headwaters. You know, there's a number of easements, which I'll talk about shortly here as well. But there's, you know, this is what's going on in that picture I had up earlier. This is the area, you know, and here's a few of, you could say, the stats on what we're doing. I don't find it all that important, you know, but it just lets you feel kind of what's going on, right? Nearly 120 different bird species are protected here.
Wow.
Right? This is the water source for a town, Centerville, Tennessee. you know, and over on the Highland Woods area, right, that's the water source for Mount Pleasant. And you may not know it in your area, but Mount Pleasant, unfortunately, decided to do a plastic factory or some other source of kind of very difficult manufacturing. And they unfortunately did a deep well injection and tainted their water source. And so that water, those spring waters that we protect, feed that town, you know, and not only those towns, but other towns around us too. You know, and it's critical. It is absolutely critical that we protect our waters, that we protect these waterfalls, that we protect these seeps and springs, and not just for ourselves, but again, for our children and for all the nature. You know, it actually happens to be the beaver moon coming up, as some might know, and that is a keystone animal. And the keystone animal really provides habitat for other animals. And, you know, corridors provide those habitats, not fragmented pieces of land, a little here and a little there. And together with the farm, we've protected over 4,000 plus acres, right? And we protected, you know, federally endangered species and state listed species. And it's just, you know, I can't say enough about what is going on. And I'm extremely grateful for everyone who's come before me and my opportunity to continue to protect what is going on and the lands that are so critical to our children and ourselves, right? And you know, what is this organization, right? It was a 501c3, right? We're 100% nonprofit. We're all volunteers, right? And our mission is to protect these lands, right? And how do we do it, right? We do it really through three key ways, right? We do it through easements, ownership, and partnership. And we partner with different organizations. And I implore everyone to look up what an easement is, right? It's preventing the land from being fractured. It can be done in a number of different ways. And we're action, right? We network, we partner, we hike, we have events, right? So come out and visit. And just like you know, Doug was talking about, right? We have monthly hikes, we have events going on, we have educations, we have stream restoration and cleanup. We have all kinds of awards we've won, and we'd love to have you come and visit us and see a little mountain laurel, maybe see some wild azaleas, maybe some honeysuckle or an iris, maybe a trout lily or a spider lily. You know, so you know, just jumping into that again, a conservation easement, right? It's a non-intrusive legal tool that protects this land, right? And it protects it even when a deed changes hands. I thought these lizard tails were quite the amazing little adventure, right? It's beautiful species.
Just beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I haven't seen a yellow lady slipper anywhere else, and we got one we can see on some of our hikes. If you've never seen a yellow lady slipper, come on out, join us for a hike, and we'll show you some amazing beauty.
How close are you to Asheville, North Carolina?
Doug, you just came from there. Let's see, is it about 4 to 5 hours? Yeah, there it is. 6. Yeah, about 6 right now. Yeah.
I've promised to visit some friends in Asheville, so now I will definitely, if possible, would love to a visit to you guys too.
Please do, Scott. We'd love to have you, and we'd love to show you a little of the beauty that exists out here and catch you on one of our hikes. And we have an amazing biologist. You know, she is you know, just been a keystone to this change, like Doug. And you know, we've worked with one of our partners is you know, he is called the Prairie Preacher, and he's helped us quite a bit document everything and helped us understand how critical prairies are to this area, just as much as the forests are for protecting our streams and waterways. And he has a native seed bank that he's built up, and we've helped him with that. It's pretty amazing, just what's going on out here, right? So again, biodiversity, water, integrity. There's just a lot going on here, and I'll kind of wrap it up with that to come join us on a hike, and I would just say of like, look locally, right? Find an organization local to you that you can take a hike out with, that you can volunteer with, and be an advocate. Go get some forest bathing, engage in any way you can, and honor the sanctity of the land by enjoying it yourself and bringing your children out there, and maybe your children's children if you're a grandparent. And that's really what I have. And I'm I'm quite passionate, and sometimes a bit emotional about it, and I'm just I'm in love with the land. So thank you for hearing a little bit about the Swan Trust.
It shows, and it's inspiring. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, look, Douglas called us out. We're a bunch of old hippies on this show. And so it's beautiful to see the next generation that you represent carrying on with so much passion and so much love. I'm going to read just a couple comments, and then I do have some questions. Muchar writes, James, such a profound share. Thank you so much. Truly inspiring. Pam writes, we are in love with your passion, James. Trisha writes, well, I'll say that's a question. Dr. Laura, Carol Craig writes, I love an emotional expression when talking about our natural world. Dr. Laura writes, I've done several years work helping to save parts of the Shawnee Forest in Southern Illinois. It's such a blessing to fall in love with land. I guess we're going to there are more people just saying how wonderful it is. Ayada wants me to do a show from the farm. So if I come to visit you, we'll coordinate to do it on a Wednesday or Saturday night so we can do the show from the farm. That would be fun. All right, we're going to get to questions. Dr. Laura asks, do you have Native American or indigenous partners as well?
That is really a piece of, that's the Plenty works a lot with the Native Americans, and they bring them all kinds of things. I'll really let them speak to the Native American side, but the farm has definitely engaged with them quite a bit. I listened, to that song, and it definitely reminded me of being in a sweat lodge. I've definitely I've engaged with different Native American tribes of different areas, and done a number of sweats and fasts, and kind of engage with them in different pieces. But I would say probably the strongest group engaging with them is Plenty.
And Amrishar is asking, what is Plenty? Maybe give us a little bit. We've heard you mention it. Dr. or our wild monk, Jerry, said that he got potatoes from Plenty, but I think you need to tell us a little bit more about Plenty.
Yeah. Doug, I mean, if you want to speak to Plenty, he can probably speak better than I. But it is another one of these organizations that has been kind of birthed out of the farm of really giving back to people. So, Doug, do you want to talk about Plenty? That would be a handover. So if there's any more questions, I can definitely go and try to answer them. Or maybe this is a good kind of transition point as well.
Well, stay with us. Let's hear about Plenty. And I do have other questions, and maybe you'll answer them, maybe Doug, maybe the ladies.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep you on camera. We're not letting you go that easily.
Doug, do you want to answer the Plenty question?
I'm going to hand it over to my beloved.
Well, I thought people might be curious about the name and how we got the name for this organization. Was the idea that if people share, then there's plenty to go around. And even in the early days where we were primarily vegetarian, part of the reason for that was the same philosophy that if you, it takes less land to grow soybeans and other types of beans for your protein than running corn and beans through animals. So we felt like part of helping to feed the world was by having there be plenty, by sharing and by not taking too much for ourselves. So the first project that we did was in Guatemala because there was an earthquake that happened, and Guatemala was somewhere that we could get to in a vehicle. We didn't have to fly to get there. We could drive there. And we sent a crew of people to just check out what they needed, and found out that they needed carpenters. Canada was sending materials, but they didn't have carpenters. We had carpenters, but we didn't have materials. So we teamed up with Canada and did a lot of rebuilding in Guatemala right after the earthquake. And then, as Douglas mentioned before, with the PowerPoint that he showed, we also sent down people who, paramedics and midwives, and we helped out medically, and then we helped out with water and food. So it kind of grew as we saw what was needed. So that was some of the beginning of Plenty. And then there's been other projects in Africa, in the Bronx, and in Belize. And in the year 2000, I went to Belize and did a Plenty project where I taught 14 Mayan women midwifery. So that's how you pronounce it. It's midwifery.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So you had it right. We continue to have other projects too. What are
So disaster relief, like the Guatemala thing, is one way we found we can help out. So after Katrina, New Orleans, we were some of the first people in the city down there helping folks out. So then we ended up staying with volunteers in New Orleans for about 10 years. And then after Helene hit Asheville, North Carolina, we had volunteers there helping to provide people with clean drinking water and other uses for water in their homes. And so it's basically a relief and development nonprofit that is deeply involved with Native peoples, trying to support Native people. We had a program called Kids to the Country that went on for about 30 years, where we brought children from homeless shelters and refugee centers to the farm. And so it's always looking for different ways. Usually the projects are driven by somebody with a passion, like James. So there might be someone who says, I see something that needs to be done and I can help out. And then Plenty gets behind them and it grows from there. I'll pass it back to you there, Scott.
Wow. Anything else you want to mention about Plenty and your work with Indigenous?
The website is plenty.org. Very easy website to find. And
we also trained a midwife who was a Native American woman, and have had some involvement that way with some of the Native Americans.
And then we've been supporting a Sundance in South Dakota for many, many years, providing financial assistance, logistical assistance. And I was just talking with Dan. Dan wasn't able to be with us today, but he's the new next generation director of Plenty. And one of his key focuses is how we can expand our work with the Native people at Pine Ridge, South Dakota.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
He's doing a coat drive right now to bring winter coats up there.
Okay. There was an earlier question about how, I'll bring James back up for this. There's an earlier question about how decisions are made. And you'd mentioned at one point that, but maybe you can go a little bit further into the decision-making process.
Generally speaking, we work with consensus and with votes. We're pretty large, a couple hundred people. It's hard to have consensus with 200 people. it would take, we might be able to get there, but it would take a long time. And so generally when we have our smaller committees, our board of directors, our committee for membership, and we try to have consensus at those smaller circles. And then we'll take a community vote for large expenditures, any changes in our infrastructure, and those would be decided by a community vote.
And that's like a majority.
Yeah. It's making someone a member would take 70%, 75%, 3/4 of the community. And maybe someone doesn't get that 75%. That doesn't mean they have to leave. It just means they have to get straight with more people, or maybe improve the, when they say they're going to be somewhere, they show up on time, or they pay their bills better on time. And we give people a chance to hang in there for a while and develop their relationship with the community. And so, the vote is something that is a litmus test for how much agreement there is for something to happen. Sometimes the votes are like 51-49.
Wow.
We had a vote to pave the roads. That was very controversial because we had dirt roads for years, and people are like, oh, we're just getting too urbanized. We don't need any paved roads, and then there's the people like, this dust is making me sick, and my car can't handle all this mud. And, you have those kind of votes where, okay, the paved road people win. And then about 3 to 5 years later, that everybody else is going, well, maybe that was a pretty good idea after all.
Right. You mentioned nonviolent communication, and that, jumped out for me. I had the good fortune to work very closely with Marshall Rosenberg. We did television shows and videos together. I traveled with him. How do you incorporate nonviolent communication into the community and into what you do?
Well, we have a long history of working it out. Speaking the truth, we did this before we knew about him. And so in our earliest days, if somebody offended you or hurt your feelings, or you didn't think they were being completely honest, you felt obligated to talk to them about it. And usually you could see someone's faults better than they could see it themselves. And then it turns out that was because you had the same issues in yourself. And so it was a learning curve, the thing that went back and forth both ways. And so we kind of have a long history of trying to be honest with each other. And then we learned about nonviolent communication. And it's the kind of thing we have to remind ourselves over and over, that we have to relearn that and remember that and practice it in order for it to. And if you start out small, the way it works is you have a conflict usually with one person. And if you don't go talk to them, it builds up in your head and builds up in your head. If we encourage each other to talk one-on-one, and a lot of times if you'll just do that, and if you'll listen to the other person, they just want to feel heard. And that resolves probably 80 to 90% of the conflicts. Sometimes it takes a little more, and then you want to each bring someone that is a fair witness. So maybe that person is there to tell you, slow down, take a breath, listen. Don't just jump on, get all defensive. If that still isn't enough, we have trained mediators in the community that can be that neutral person that can help people figure things out. We have people who are trained not just as mediators, but as psychologists, and can deal with people that have deeper issues. So it kind of works like that.
Beautiful. I would love to hear from our midwives in the back. Maybe share a little bit about the midwifery program. Come on up. Come on down. For those of you who might remember Monty Hall and Let's Make a Deal, come on down.
Hi there.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Oh my gosh, this is a beautiful show. All of our shows are beautiful, to be honest, but this is an especially beautiful one. So tell us more about the midwifery program.
Well, it's still happening. There's a school here on the the farm, and so they're actively training more midwives to go other places, and we're still attending births here on the farm. Mostly it's local families that we're supporting, but people are coming from California, New York, some Turkey.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's still happening. It's really important how the torch gets passed on here, just because of how the impact that the farm midwives have had over the last several decades. And part of what happened in midwifery was just that when they took out the granny midwives, there was this break in the tradition of how birth knowledge was passed on between the generations. And so we're doing our best to try to mirror a passing of the torch moving forward.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We have a PowerPoint here that we could try to pull up for you guys.
Oh, wonderful.
Let's see if we can make it work. So,
Oops, wrong one. Technical difficulties.
I love that logo, though. I saw a little baby popping out of a Lotus diamond there for a moment. Oh, there it is.
the flower mandala.
Beautiful.
If you study it closely, it'll. All right.
There we go.
There it is. All right. So for over half a century, this land has been a portal for gentle birth, a global modern beacon radiating the truth that birth is holy, sovereign, and deeply beautifully human. Oops.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spiritual midwifery, this is a copy of the Bible, if you will, was first printed in 1976. It has traveled into 12 languages, whispered across continents, and reminding the world that a baby's first breath can be taken in peace. So the midwifery care that is offered here on the farm, it entails all of the standards of care, but it's much deeper than that. Our prenatal meetings, they're like at least an hour long, and it's about entering a relationship where we build trust, and we really get to know the families that we're taking care of.
If we can do it.
There. Before Tennessee, we already made mention, the roots go back to San Francisco. So before the midwives ever touched Tennessee soil, the call began there, where the young women realized that there was another path to giving birth. I guess they had witnessed twilight birth and had seen that birth was stripped of dignity, and they chose to reclaim it. They used instinct over machinery, and the caravan was a pathway toward that freedom.
They were with women and learned from each other.
Yeah.
And learned that birth can be empowering.
It's incredible. I married into the farm, and I learned really quickly what it's like to live in a community that's filled with midwives, because the midwives function as community leaders, marriage counselors, healthcare, they're healthcare providers beyond childbirth, nutritionalists, and advocates for mother and child. Let's see. This is a picture, the baby boom on the farm. When the caravan arrived here in Tennessee, the babies followed. There were over 2,000 births in the first decade, not in sterile rooms.
Over 2,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And not in sterile hospital rooms. It was in buses, cabins, tents. And it happened.
And it worked. Birth works.
By doing it, they proved to the world that birth is not inherently an emergency, but birth is inherently intelligent, that it works.
Wow. Since you've been around for so long and so many of these babies are now adults, was there any way to track the difference long-term of those born, in a healthy, natural way versus those born, in the traditional medical system?
I don't think that's one thing that really has been tracked, although that would be great to be able to do that. We did have the Center for Disease Control come to the farm and take blood samples of all ages of people, and then come back a few years later and follow the growth of the children, because we were at that time the biggest vegetarian group of people having babies. And before that, people didn't really know if you could be healthy on a vegetarian diet. So they studied us. So we've been studied that way, not exactly, a comparison like you're talking about. Of course, midwives have always believed that when babies are born in a peaceful environment, that it does affect them long term and makes a difference in how they grow up. And I've also always felt like it really is a bonding thing for couples. And when a man sees how hard his wife works to have the baby, that is going to help keep their marriage hopefully together a little better. In this country, sometimes the divorce rate is so high. And we've certainly seen how men are impressed by the work that their wife does when she gives birth to their child.
It's beautiful. I love that photo. We have a few questions. There's a question about how you handle vaccinations and how you handle if a C-section is needed.
Well, we leave that. We don't do any vaccinations here on the farm, but we put the decision making back in the families, because ultimately the parents make the best decisions for their families. So we don't do it. What was the other question?
What happens if a C-section is needed? Is there a hospital close by that you have a relationship to?
Yeah, so we're so blessed, because the first generation midwives have really paved the road for an integrated medical system, such that if a family needs to go in and first of all, if we go in, it's not a promised C-section. The local hospitals have really been trained by the first generation midwives to give us every option if it's safe to try to get a vaginal birth. And we're well received in the hospital. I've been surprised, just because I worked out in California and I've seen another way where this is unique and special, what we have going on.
Let's do the next slide and talk about the history of working with the doctor.
And I had gone to you guys because we wanted to see you as you were speaking.
Do you want to talk about this slide, Deborah?
Back to showing it.
Well, the gentleman in this picture, the doctor, his name is Dr. Williams, and we were very fortunate that he was the local doctor when we arrived, because he was open to the idea of home birth. He was doing home birth himself in the Amish community. There's a very large Amish community near us, and he just took us under his wing and helped the midwives, would come to the farm and, you know, see people, whether they were pregnant or sick. And so he taught the midwives to take care of all kinds of things, you know, when including some primary care type things. And he also he was well respected in the local hospital. And when we did need to transport somebody, he told the hospital to be good to us. And, you know, so that really helped a whole lot to have his support. He also taught the midwives a lot of things along the way, and we could always call him. We could call him in the middle of the night if we needed him. So he was a great a saint.
He looks like a kindly doctor out of a movie.
Yes, he was
He's like, you know,
that old-fashioned doctor.
yeah, I mean, he's got that vibe.
He had a great bedside manner.
That's a great photo. Thank you.
This is a picture of Carol Nelson, who has been practicing, I think, for 50 years. She's actually holding my baby there that she's giving a kiss to, and she's caught babies. She caught my sister-in-law, and then she caught 2 of my babies. So, you know, powerful, just that connection and the lineage to have that kind of, you know, care around. Carol was a founder of NARM, which is the North American Registry of Midwives. And same with the College of Traditional Midwifery that is here on the farm. And she's still a practicing midwife. I mean, she really kind of she does so much.
Carol was at my son's birth, and he's 51.
Yeah, that's amazing. A lot of knowledge there.
Beautiful.
And this is a picture of Deborah. She is teaching midwives in Belize at the training program that she made mention of earlier. And Deborah's certainly, she teaches at the College of Traditional Midwifery, and then she runs drills with the younger part of the team, just because we practice like neonatal resuscitation throughout the year to make sure that we are, you know, that our skills are polished in case we should ever have to use them. And then, let's see, this is Karina Fitch. She was born in a school bus on the property. So the babies that were born here are becoming the midwives. Karina practiced midwifery for over 20 years in Miami prior to returning to the land. And she hosts group prenatals, and these are something really special. If you look at the picture, you can notice that I'm actually in the background there nursing a baby, and then there's moms in different parts of their pregnancy. And some of these moms are having their first baby, but some of them have had multiple babies. And, you know, the cumulative wisdom from bringing these ladies together is greater than anything that we could offer in an individual prenatal. So we do both.
I'd like to say something. When I first came to the farm, I think the fact that there's so many of us were having babies, it really helped me a lot when I was having mine to know all these other women who had successfully done it. And when I would go to a prenatal, I'd be sitting around waiting for my turn to see a midwife, and I'd get a chance to talk to the other women. And sometimes women would be there to have a postpartum visit. So they'd be nursing their new baby. So I would get to watch. And, you know, I think we're kind of monkey see, monkey do people. And just watching other women breastfeed helped me be able to breastfeed much better. So the idea of having these group prenatal sessions helps create a community of people who have faith that their bodies work. And that's what we had on the farm. So it's a way of kind of spreading that with a group of people who maybe don't live here, but they are still becoming part of that community.
Yeah, and many of these mothers keep in touch beyond their care here on the farm. There was a mother who ended up losing a baby that was not related to anything but birth, and the way that the mothers who had been in the group prenatals with her, so they surrounded around her and provided support, which was, I was like, oh yes, this is powerful, what's happening, you know. You know, our world certainly needs more community and connection. This is a picture of Pamela Hunt, who is one of the founding midwives. She was in San Francisco and on the caravan, and
Had a baby on the caravan.
had a baby on in a bus on the caravan.
Wow.
And helped other women who were having their babies on the caravan. That's how she became a midwife, because of that.
Yeah, she continues to teach, and just such a wise woman who has shed light everywhere she goes. And then Leah and I are there with a second generation part of the birth team, Laura Hoseapple, and we're actually doing pottery there, hanging out, not doing anything birth related. The day off, yeah.
And I was at Laura's birth. So
yeah.
Laura's on the far left there.
Yeah, and Laura was at my birth, and our little girls are best friends.
Pamela was the midwife for my daughter Cheryl. So that
right.
was good to see her here. Yeah.
Yeah. This is just a picture of the kind of care that happens at the birth. You can't see me, but that's my baby, River Orion. He's getting his newborn exam right there beside me. And I think, you know, we're just ever conscious of the fact that, like, even being right on the bed beside me where I could reach out and touch him, that's as far as he's ever been away from me in that moment. You know, I mean, he's maybe like an hour old, and we just try to keep mom and baby together as much as possible, because no other mammal gives birth and then puts their baby like out of sight or across the room.
Just some more pictures of happy parents with their babies.
Yeah, at the heart of it, we do it for the babies, we do it for the moms, we do it for the families.
Yeah. Yeah.
We try to make it as like a home birth, even if you have traveled. So you would come early, maybe a couple of weeks before your due date, and get really settled in, be able to go for walks. You have a kitchen, you make your own food, you can prep, you can make your postpartum food. We also have doulas in the community that make food. And this is a picture of one of the birthing cabins that families stay at when they come.
Wow.
And the birthing rooms are like bedrooms, just like you would have at home. We encourage people to bring their own bedding, their own pillows, their own favorite blankets, their bathrobes, everything that makes it home.
It's really kind of a, you know, it's special because your phone is not going to work super great on the farm. so it's really kind of a way to unplug and hold space for this threshold that you're going to be walking through, your initiation into parenthood, whether it's your first baby or being a parent times 2 or 3.
And like a honeymoon, it's your baby moon. So they're only this little once. Really cherish it.
Mm.
Some,
Oh, what a lovely photo. Wow. So now how many people choose water birth?
Most, it depends, there's variation in the way that the midwives practice, but this is a picture of Karina just having given birth to her second daughter. And, if Karina's your midwife, mostly, most of her clients choose to do water birth. So a fair amount.
Yeah, it's really up to the mother what she wants.
Yeah.
sometimes they find relief in the shower and get in and out, it depends.
Yeah. We follow their lead mostly. There's another water birth with this woman's family surrounding her son holding her hand.
Children are welcome. Sometimes if a child's real young, maybe it's not a good fit, but it's really up to the family about that too. If a mother wants her children there, then they can be there.
And it's powerful for this young boy, having just witnessed his mother bring his baby brother into the world, what kind of man that's going to shape. I think having our children can handle it, and it helps them understand. And, my daughter attended both the births of her brothers, and, it's like this, there's a responsibility that comes with being woman and being able to bring life forth, and just a respect that, children get out of making that observation. The College of Traditional Midwifery is here on the farm. It's a competency-based program, and they're training midwife assistants and midwives. It says this slide says it's a 4-year degree program, but I think it's a 3-year, isn't it?
Well, it can vary.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people can go through the program more quickly than others because they also have a midwife that they work with, that they attend births with. So it may depend on how many births that midwife is doing, how quickly they can go through the program. So,
and the program has in-person 1 to 2 weeks sessions
twice a year,
and then you work wherever you live with your preceptor.
But if anybody's interested in that, they can definitely look for the website and, find out what, more information there.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions people asking to come and apprentice on the farm. And that would be the way that if you're interested in working with the farm midwives, that would be your segue into it.
The woman in the center is pregnant and she's from Turkey. We mentioned that we've had some people from Turkey. So there's one of them. And then around her are some students that were here for a class.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. Oh, look at these beautiful pictures.
More students.
More students.
More students.
And, the powerful thing about that is just that, these women, they're from all different geographical locations and all different cultures. And, so that's really, it's important to have midwives from all walks of life to support you know, all the different people out there.
Couple questions, and I'm sure I'm going to need your help because when I got bounced out, I lost my chat box again. But there's an immediate question from Dr. Laura. For many hospitals, the birthing program are a very big moneymaker. Is the farm able to make these births affordable, and do you take insurance?
We are actually, we have a biller that some insurance companies will work with it. It's like a PPO. We can get pre-approval for the programs that work. And then what is the, we can provide super bills, which works some, you know, but the biller, it's a new thing that we're doing to help make it more affordable. And then we do sliding scale because we do want to, you know, make it accessible because women from all walks of life deserve midwifery care. That's really going to be our homework moving forward, is just, you know, how do we help make it so that women from all walks of life can have midwives. Thank
you so much. I'm going to bring up, if I can see him, what happened to our foursome? Oh, that's right. You guys are on that camera. So let's bring Douglas back. And James, I'm going to pop you on. We've got a couple of last questions. Christy Michaels is asking, do you know the Jungle Mama program with Pachamama? Is that
Jungle program?
The Jungle Mama program with Pachamama Alliance?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay. And somebody had asked if Mama Ina was still on the property.
Oh, Ina May.
No, she's not. She moved away
With her son.
When her husband was dying. So she's not living here now.
Yeah, in the chat, it's mainly amazing praise for you all about how it's just bringing tears of joy that such a thing is still happening on the planet today. And there was one question a little earlier, Douglas, perhaps, that was, have you seen a greater intake in people wanting to come to the farm in the last couple of years with all of the stuff that's arising on the planet at the moment?
I would say it's kind of just a steady flow. We're generally processing about 10 people a year. You know, as I mentioned, it's a multi-year process, and there's a lot of challenges for someone. You know, they have to be able to support themselves, and we're in a very rural area, so sometimes people that have certain skills, either working remotely or are able to be in the medical skills, are often very employable. A lot of the construction work is happening, you know, at great distance.
Right.
So it can be, and then there's a limit to how many rentals we have. When people are going through those first couple of years, they do need to rent before they can build.
Right.
And so there is a limited number of places that open up. You kind of have to get in line and, you know, be ready for the checkerboard. When somebody moves one checker, it opens up all these other different moves.
Yes.
Oh, well, it's been really a beautiful show. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Reverend Jeffrey. I'm going to bring you up one more time. Thank you for making this happen.
We have Mark Hubbs. Was he going to come on? Where's Mark?
What's that?
Was Mark Hubbs here somewhere?
Oh my gosh, Mark Hubbs. We have not heard from Mark Hubbs.
I'm going to bring him. No, yeah.
Mark, I'm giving you complete spotlight. Thank you. Thank you. Mark, what would you like to share?
You know, that my community members and friends have shared most everything that's in my heart. You know, I was born on this land and grew up here and have had the fortune to deliver both of my sons with Pamela and the other the other midwives of the community, their help, and they're growing up here on the land and in our school. And We've got an incredible community. I'm focused on helping us transition into the future, attracting more young families, and trying to help people kind of weather the storms of community and stay here. We're really good at attracting people, and we have real challenges keeping them here. So I try and help integrate and keep community members that are crazy enough to try and make it here. I also like to make attractive things to bring people here. I built a playground with some tree houses and zip lines. I built a wood-fired sauna down at our swimming hole. I'm the waterfront director and train the lifeguards. And so this is really my heart's home and my tribe. And so I love it here. I'm crazy enough to stay here, and I'm, kind of actively recruiting other people that are crazy enough to come here and hoping that their crazy meshes with our crazy.
And Mark, how do we contact you about if any of us want to visit there?
Douglas mentioned there's a couple websites about the farm. Coming up really soon, in just a couple weeks, Douglas and I are going to be doing a farm experience weekend. If folks want to come and check out the farm, Douglas did them for years, and we're looking at transitioning to me taking the baton and doing maybe 1 or 2 a year where people can come in and check out the farm, get their feet in the water, and see if it's something they'd be interested in learning more about in the future.
No pun intended on getting their feet in the water, right?
No.
So since you're the water guy, here's the main page. It's thefarmcommunity.org. Thefarmcommunity.com. Thefarmcommunity.com. I've put it into the chat box for our Zoom roomers, but for everybody watching on YouTube, this is where you can really start, and there's so much to learn. And you can click on how to visit, accommodations, learn about the different organizations, the businesses that they have, learn about their green living programs. I mean, everything is here. So start at thefarmcommunity.com. Thefarmcommunity.com.
I wanted to mention in April, we're going to have a 3-day festival called the Sanctuary Summit, world music, a really great way to come visit us.
Well, now that would be great. What are the dates of that?
The weekend of April 20th.
The weekend of April 20th, 420.
18th, 19th, and 20th.
April 20th. I'm putting in visit the farm. And I'm going to put that in my calendar and maybe work out my my trip to Asheville so I could be there for that. That'd be wonderful.
That's a good one.
I want to thank you very much. I'm going to bring James up one more time. James, your tears was my favorite moment of a really momentous and wonderful show. So thank you. One last time, bringing up our beautiful brother, Reverend Jeffrey, and going to take a class photo of all of you smiling. Smile one more time. There we go. We got our class photo. And thank you for a very inspirational show. And of course, thank you for all that you're doing to provide all the work necessary of how to create a healthy, intentional community. And I appreciate, Douglas, you were especially humble about, the challenges of it. And I appreciate that very much. There's going to be a few more minutes of the show. We're going to have every show, we have a prayer time, and then we close with an Omashar song and a few Global Peace Tribe announcements. So you're welcome to stay for that. And thank you again. I'm going to turn it over to Diara and Desiree, affectionately known as the 2D goddesses, to lead tonight's prayer program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Whew. Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. The beautiful land that we witnessed tonight, the beautiful birth of the waters, the first breath of life, and the fire of spirit becoming. And we send the beauty of these natural births back to our timelines, back to our embryonic fluids, and we erase anything other than pure beauty of the gift of life here and now. And with the land and the water and the fire and the air, we bless the farm and all those there, all those here and beyond.
Askamagita serotege te sarake serotege te grati te guati te tagasi te graso te gati serate te grate te gra. I see the light all around you. I see te grati te grate gati te gra. I see the heavens have opened to bless you. I see those blessings across the land. I see your sweat and tears that you've placed in that soil. I see the growth that you've done. I see the love you put into the land. I see the gratitude come from your heart and all around. I see the light workers in you. And I bless you. All of you. And all around you. Hear my words. As we open our hearts, and bring in those blessings, we spread them even further. Thank you.
And may this continue.
Thank you, ladies. And I'd love for us to send our prayer energy to the farm and to all the people that have been part of the farm, past, present, future, those that are no longer in body, and all the little babies that will grow up to become future lights in this world. Blessings to Deborah and Douglas, their daughters, James, Mark. Thank you so much. Maximum grace for you, the farm. Thank you. I also want to make an announcement. As you all know, I was not sure if I was going to do another season of The Awakening World. And the reason for that was about 6 weeks ago, I could just feel that there's some big change in my life coming. Well, most of you know the big change is that last week I found the body of my beloved friend and my land partner in his bathtub. It was a peaceful passage, I believe. But that was the big change. So now I know what the big change is, and I'm coping with it and dealing with it. When I let people know I wasn't sure, I received a lot of letters, a lot of emails, texts from people appreciating the Awakening World, appreciating what we've been doing over the last 5.5 years, blessing me if I decided to let it go, and also asking, can we keep it going? Well, Lucky, that was my land partner's name. Lucky's death does not impact me or the Awakening World, that part of my life. It impacts other parts of my life, but it doesn't impact that part of my life. So I am planning on continuing to do the show for at least another season or two. And it was also interesting because a lot of people have started reaching out to me. Neil Gar reached out and said, Scott, I want to do once a month an Awakening show with you guys. So the messages I got from the universe were to keep it going, not to let it go. I do want to ask in our prayer time, I do need to find a buyer. Lucky's daughters are very eager to sell the property and move on with their lives. They never felt connected to the ranch at all. So I am definitely holding the vision and actively reaching out to people I know who might be wanting to come in as land partners. It's an amazing 30-acre property. The price is very low, considering we have 30 acres with a lake in a beautiful place like Grass Valley. So please hold the vision that the perfect buyer will come along, and I will be able to carry out the vision that Lucky and I started with the new energies, the new dynamics of whoever our new partners will be. So that's a bit of a personal announcement, but your thoughts and your prayers mean a lot to me. You are my family. And thank you. Appreciate that. We are having a Sacred Sunday show tomorrow. We haven't had a Sacred Sunday show in a while, and we're doing one tomorrow. It'll be at 11 a.m. It'll also be the last time Omashar is with us live for a few weeks. He's off to England to be with his mom. And we have a wonderful guest who will actually be with me. I'm in Reno, Nevada at the Soul Search Enlightenment Expo. So we'll be doing a hybrid where we're presenting to an audience, a live audience, as well as presenting to all of you. 11 o'clock in the morning. And the topic, how many of you know the word sisu? Who knows that word? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. It's the power of gentle kindness, which is interesting because the name of my ranch that Lucky and I came up with the name together is the Kind Heart Ranch. So we're going to be talking about the power of gentle kindness. I will put into the Zoom room the link. I also will email it out to all of our subscribers. I also emailed it out yesterday. So please do join us. And it's going to be a very special, it's going to be a fun show, just 1 hour. And speaking of Omashar, we will close the show the way that we love closing the show, with Omashar playing some music and hopefully some of you moving and grooving and dancing. And so here he is, my wonderful co-pilot, Omashar.
You'll never walk this way again. Lay down all your guards. Your loving hearts will lead the way. The door is open. The wonderful and the new is waiting patiently. Take the step and you will see all you've been dreaming. And now is the time you've been waiting for so long. I've been holding you through all ages, knowing I'd be with you once again. You'll never be alone again. Please won't take my hand in yours. I love you just the way you are. You're my creation. The wonderful and the new is waiting patiently. And take the step and you will see all you've been dreaming. And now is the time we've been waiting for so long. I've been holding you through all ages, knowing I'd be with you once again. You'll never walk this way again. Lay down all your guards. Your loving hearts will lead the way. The door is open. And now is the time we've been waiting for so long. I've been holding you through all ages, knowing I'd be with I love you just the way you are. You're my creation.
Do one last big twinkle, and we're sure. Thank you so much.
Hey, Scott, did you say you posted out the Sunday links?
I did.
'Cause I did not receive one, so.
Well, let me put it in again, unless I sent it accidentally to just one person, but there it is.
Oh, it's in the thingamajig. I see it, brother.
Okay, great.
I shall copy it.
And
Go
remember to save the chat.
Hang on a minute. Oh, a new chat. Why isn't it saying letting me? It's not letting me save the chat.
Sorry, Scott.
You save the chat?
I did.
Thank you, love.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks again to all of our friends from the farm and Jeffrey, and God's blessings, everybody. I hope to see you tomorrow morning. It's going to be a wonderful show, 11 a.m. Pacific time, and have a beautiful rest of the evening. God bless you all, and good night.